2026 isn't the year of the sequel, it's the year of the debut. The stage is cleared for brand new stories to explode onto the stage and define the next generation of anime. We've dug through the upcoming slate to find 4 first-timers with the raw, undeniable potential to become your next obsession. From the ultimate underdog story to a revenge fantasy dripping with catharsis, these aren't just new shows, they're future hits in the making. And number 1 is the exact kind of prove them wrong story that launches 1,000 memes. But before that party gets started, you know what fuels the anime algorithm? Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Think of it as buffing your feed for maximum hype. Let's just kick it off. At number 10 is Hana Kimi. Okay, get ready for a blast from the past with a fresh coat of paint. Hana Kimi, also known as For You in Full Bloom, is a legendary shoujo rom-com manga, finally getting its first ever anime adaptation in 2026. And it's about to teach a new generation why these tropes are classics for a reason. The premise is the beautiful, chaotic, trope-tastic goodness we live for. Mizuki Ashiya, a girl living in the US, becomes utterly obsessed with high jump athlete Izumi Sano after seeing him on TV. Her dedication goes beyond fangirling. She transfers to Japan and enrolls in his school to be close to him. The catch is, it's an all-boys school. So, she does what any of us would do in that situation. She chops her hair, deepens her voice, and goes undercover as a dude. For new viewers, it's a hilarious and sweet entry point into a genre that thrives on chaotic, wholesome energy. With Studio Signal, MD handling the adaptation and streaming on Crunchyroll, Hana Kimi has all the ingredients to be the surprise romantic hit of the year, proving that some classic stories just don't age. At number 9 is Witch Hat Atelier. This one is for everyone who craves that pure, awe-inspiring fantasy magic. Witch Hat Atelier isn't just highly anticipated, it's a passion project that was delayed to ensure every single frame is a work of art, and the hype is already astronomical. Based on Kamome Shirahama's critically acclaimed and gorgeous manga, this series is often described as Harry Potter meets Kiki's Delivery Service, with a heavy dash of Studio Ghibli's soulful flair. It follows Coco, a bright-eyed girl in a world where witches are a secret, elite class. She believes magic is innate, a gift you're born with, until a fateful encounter with a traveling magician reveals the truth. Magic is drawn. It's an art form, a meticulous craft of creating intricate circles and patterns. Any mistake isn't just a failed spell, it can have catastrophic, reality-warping consequences. The world building is immaculate. The magic system is uniquely creative, and the central theme of making art and magic accessible is profoundly moving. It's the frontrunner to become the definitive magical fantasy anime for a new generation, appealing to that deep-seated wish we all have to discover a secret, beautiful world. At number 8 is Daemons of the Shadow Realm. When the creator of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, one of the greatest anime of all time, returns with a new series, you pay attention. Daemons of the Shadow, Realmus Hiromu Arakawa's latest work, and its anime adaptation in spring 2026 is poised to be an event. The story begins with a twin brother and sister, Yuru and Asa, living a peaceful life that is shattered in a single day by a mysterious calamity. This catastrophe awakens in Yuru the ability to summon and communicate with a powerful, godlike entity known as a daemon. Armed with this new power and driven by the destruction of his old life, Yuru vows to uncover the truth behind the disaster and the shadowy forces at play. There is no higher pedigree in modern shonen storytelling. If any new franchise has the built-in credibility to explode onto the scene and capture the global anime community from its first episode, it's this one. This isn't just a new anime, it's a potential new classic in the making. At number 7 is The Darwin Incident. Get ready for an anime that's going to spark conversations, debates, and probably a lot of stunned silence. The Darwin Incident, based on the prestigious Manga Taisho award-winning series, is a sci-fi social thriller diving headfirst into some of the most complex themes imaginable. The series follows Charlie, a human Z, a being born half human, half chimpanzee from a scientific experiment. Placed into foster care with human parents, Charlie grows up and is eventually sent to a regular human high school to navigate society on his own. With a release set for January 2026 and animation by Belnox Films, The Darwin Incident has already generated significant buzz for its audacious premise and award-winning source material. In a landscape often dominated by familiar fantasy, this series has the potential to be the cerebral, must-watch hit that dominates critical discussion and proves anime can tackle the biggest philosophical questions of our time. At number 6 is Trigun Stargaze. 2 years ago, Studio Orange's Trigun Stampede reboot took a beloved 90 seconds classic and reforged it into a visual and narrative spectacle, stunning fans and skeptics alike, with its breathtaking CGI animation and a refreshed, faster-paced story closer to the original manga. The forces of Vash's brother, Million's Knives, who seeks the total annihilation of humanity, are actively conspiring in the shadows. Meanwhile, Vash himself is adrift, living with amnesia under a new identity, trying to escape the weight of his past and the title of the humanoid typhoon. Stargazer promises the final, definitive confrontation between Vash and Knives, a battle that will decide the fate of both mankind and their desert planet, No Man's Land. Studio Orange has already proven they can deliver action and emotion on a blockbuster scale. This season, which aims to complete the story past where the original 90 seconds anime ended, is set to be a relentless, heart-wrenching, and visually stunning crescendo that could cement this reboot as one of the defining sci-fi westerns of the decade. At number 5 is Sentenced to be a Hero. Sometimes, the biggest hits come out of nowhere and sucker punch the entire season. Enter Sentenced to be a Hero, the dark fantasy that debuted in January 2026 and, within weeks, was already being hailed as a masterpiece and the potential sleeper hit of the year. In a genius subversion of the genre, the title Hero in this world isn't an honor, it's the worst punishment imaginable. The most heinous criminals are sentenced to become heroes, forced into mandatory military service in the endless war against the Demon Lord's army. They are treated as disposable weapons, not champions. And death is no escape. If killed, they are resurrected to fight again, trapped in an eternal nightmare. The story follows Xylo Forbarts, the former head of the Holy Knights, now leading a penal unit of deplorables. His quest for revenge against those who wronged him ironically pushes him down a path of genuine heroism, challenging the very system that branded him a criminal. If you're looking for the new fantasy show that's already blowing minds week to week and has a real shot at Anime of the Year discussions, this is your frontrunner. At number 4 is Reincarnated as a Dragon Egg. Alright, so you think you've seen every isekai twist, a hero with a cheat skill or an overpowered mage. But how about starting your new life not as a hero, not even as a goblin, but as a literal leg sitting at the absolute bottom of the food chain? That's the gloriously absurd premise of Reincarnated as a Dragon Egg, and it's the exact kind of underdog story that hooks you instantly and refuses to let go. The story kicks off with our unnamed protagonist, a guy from Earth, dying in his sleep and waking up in a fantasy world with a serious downgrade. He's a fragile dragon egg in the middle of a monster-infested forest. With no limbs, no magic, and stats that make a slime look intimidating, his only guide is the mysterious divine voice, a system that gives him RPG-like status screens and evolution options. He has to hatch, learn to hunt insects, and slowly, painfully level up from baby dragon to more powerful forms, all while his inner monologue provides a running commentary of panic and otaku references. He's eventually named Elusia by a young mage named Myria. The series flips the typical power fantasy on its head. Instead of dominating from the start, we cheer for every tiny victory as Elusia evolves from a vulnerable hatchling into a force to be reckoned with. Produced by Felix Film and Ga Crew and premiering in January 2026, this is the isekai for anyone tired of generic heroes. It's a story about starting with nothing and earning every scrap of power, and that journey from zero to legendary is what makes it a potential sleeper hit. At number 3 is Tune Into the Midnight Heart. Tune Into the Midnight Heartess, a romantic comedy that blends a nostalgic quest with a vibrant harem setup, and it's poised to be the feel-good, character-driven hit of the season. The premise is charming and full of potential for both laughs and genuine moments. Arisu Yamabuki, a high school sophomore, is on a personal mission to find a girl known only as Apollo. Years ago, her late-night radio broadcast was a beacon for him, but she vanished without a trace. His only clue leads him to his school's broadcasting club. Arisu makes a deal. He'll help each of them achieve their dreams in the world of voice and broadcast, hoping that along the way, he'll discover which one is the mysterious Apollo he's been searching for. This isn't just a simple who is she mystery. It's a story about supporting someone's passion, the power of voice to connect people, and the hilarious, awkward, and sweet moments that happen when one earnest guy is surrounded by four driven, charismatic girls. With animation by Studio Gecko and streaming on Crunchyroll, tune into the Midnight Hearthas, the perfect recipe for a modern romance hit, a relatable goal, a cast you can't help but root for, and a premise ripe for both comedy and tender, emotional payoff. At number 2 is Noble Reincarnation. Alright, strategy fans and political intrigue enthusiasts, this one's for you. Noble Reincarnation takes the isekai premise and plants it firmly in the heart of a royal court, swapping dungeon crawling for diplomacy and monster battles for Machiavellian schemes. If you love the power progression of a fantasy story but crave the calculated chess game of something like The Genius Prince's Guide, then buckle up. Our protagonist is reborn as Noah Ararat, the 13th prince of a mighty empire, a position so far from the throne it's practically a footnote. But Noah is blessed with a unique and incredibly powerful skill set. Not only does he have an infinite level cap and potent water magic, but his strength grows as he gains loyal followers, absorbing a fraction of their abilities. Removed from the immediate line of succession, he's given a remote fiefdom to govern, which he uses to build his power base, help the common people, and forge unbreakable alliances. The story truly ignites when the crown prince dies, throwing the empire into a ruthless succession crisis. From his position of perceived weakness, Noah must now navigate a deadly game of politics, conspiracy, and open warfare against his older, more established siblings. He's not just fighting with a sword, he's fighting with economics, popular support, and strategic marriages. This is a power fantasy of the cerebral kind. Noah's journey from a disregarded royal to a contender for the throne by outthinking and outfighting everyone in his path is a compelling hook. At number 1 is Jack of All Trades, Party of None. And here we are at number 1. This is the ultimate don't judge a book by its cover story, the revenge of the overlooked, and the exact kind of premise that makes an anime go viral. Jack of All Trades, Party of Nones, a fantasy that takes a classic RPG insult and turns it into a badge of honor. And it's dripping with cathartic, I told you so energy. Meet Oren Dula, a skilled adventurer who literally did everything for his team. When they needed a swordsman, he was their front line. What they failed to realize is that Oren wasn't mediocre at multiple jobs, he was exceptionally good at them, and his true genius was in how he synergized them. He could apply flawless buffs mid-sword fight, read battle flows, and create original, overpowered magic. Now, solo and free from the deadweight of his arrogant ex-comrades, Oren's true power is unleashed. The story follows him as he discovers that his ability to learn and integrate any skill is the ultimate cheat, turning the party's greatest insult into his greatest strength. The potential for catharsis is off the charts. Watching the hero's party flounder without his support while he builds a new, respectful team, including the sister of the very enchanter they replaced him with, is pure narrative gold. Premiering in January 2026, this series taps directly into the fantasy of proving everyone wrong. It's not just a comeback story, it's a vindication story, and that's a feeling that always hits big. So, this was it. This list is your battle plan for the next 12 months of must-watch television. Now the comment section is your domain. Let me know which of these you're most excited for and what your predictions are. If you want to stay on top of every release, review, and hidden gem this year, make sure you've done the most important thing, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It's the simplest, most powerful jutsu to ensure your watch list never misses a beat. Until next time, keep watching.